open? Why have we closed? Many people accuse us of capitulating to small groups of students. They say small groups of students who are protesting, who are intimidating students, other students, who are hauling people out of offices, who are barricading the campuses, when it seems that the vast majority want to stay at work and want to come to class. We've done some polls in the different faculties which show that in most faculties 80 to 90% of students wish to be in class. I know that other universities are conducting referenda to confirm that the overwhelming majority wish to be in class. So, given that, why are we being held hostage to it by a smaller group? And I'm not now talking about the merits of their case and whether they're justified. I think there is justification for the cause. There is justification for making higher education more affordable. There's justification for wanting free education for the poor. There is justification for wanting to make the universities more welcoming spaces and not as alienating. There may be justification for the calls for curriculum reform. But what there isn't justification for is the method of closing the university because of these dire consequences that I've painted. So for us to keep the universities open requires massive security. It requires bringing onto campus private security, because the police will not come onto private property to do preventive measures. They will only come when there's a crime committed and when you lay a charge at the police station, or when there is immediate threat to property and life. So we have to spend a large amount of money on private security. We paid for our fees, we paid for our studies, and we paid for our exams. And if we couldn't finish because the university was closed, we can't be expected to pay again for another semester in 2017. So a significant share of income, perhaps 20%, 30%, we haven't calculated it yet, but a significant share of income will be lost to the universities, and we'll seriously have to ask the question, can we pay salaries next year? Or do we reduce salaries to cope with that? The purpose, at least, of this conference is to say this would be the impact at the University of Cape Town, and I think you can see that extrapolating it to how many universities are closed today across the country, that this is a scenario that faces the country. The accountants write accountancy board exams. They're only allowed to write those exams if they have finished their degrees or finished their university exams. If you can't finish them this year, they will not be able to write their board exams, and they will not be able to proceed for the next year until they have finished that. Many of our students, like law students who have got articles lined up, and many others have got jobs lined up for the beginning of next year. They're expecting an income next year, they're expecting to help support their families, they're expecting to start paying off loans, and if they cannot start, then they are the ones who are suffering, as well as the businesses and industries that employ them. And it's important to emphasize that the ones who suffer most are the students from the lowest income. Students from high-income families can survive for another few months on their family's income. They can live at home. It's the students who are indebted, the students who have job promises or contracts with the people who have given them bursaries. Those are the students who will suffer most if we haven't finished the academic year. There would be about 2,400 health science graduates in the country. About 400 would come from UCT, who are all due to start their internships or community service on the 1st of January. The health service is absolutely dependent on those junior doctors, physiotherapists, psychologists. And the people who are currently interns will have left. They've gone into other jobs, they've gone into senior positions or out of the public sector. There would be a serious risk of public sector, health sector collapse if those health science graduates cannot start on the 1st of January.